Hello and welcome to the Power of the Positives, Part 4. I am Sylvia Hartmann. I make systems to help people function better in this modern day and age, and I'm excited to be back with Part 4. If you haven't seen parts 1, 2, and 3, I strongly recommend you look at those first and then come and join us later, because there's an order and sequence here that we're building over time. So, just to recap some of the most important ideas so far. The modern energy is all about our living energy body, to make our living energy body stronger, to learn how it works, to work better with it, or to work with it at all, because most people in the world haven't got a clue that they really have a spirit that holds up their lives. So I welcome you guys for being here with me today, and let us go straight into what I call the battle for the positives. Now, one of the things that you are always going to be hearing is how bad positives are. There's all these people out there and all these schools of thought that really, really hate the idea of anything positive. Positive thinking, being a positive person, the positives in general, positive affirmations. We'll talk of those a little bit later. And they absolutely are 100% convinced that the only way to happiness is to have to suffer and then suffer some more and deal with your trauma and face your demons and criticize yourself and other people endlessly and keep picking and picking and picking at people for every little flaw and detail and misery in the erroneous belief that somehow this leads to happiness. Well, I mean, people, it doesn't. It doesn't. Being constantly criticized and miserable and the ideas in order to somehow find a reason for doing that, to sell this to people, that the only way you can be happy is by being miserable first. And the more miserable you are, and the more you bleed, and the more you suffer, the more good this is for you somehow. I mean, God Almighty, when you hear these things, right, here's what I want you to bear in mind. When somebody says that positives are bad for you, that you're just deluding yourself into happiness somehow, that's brilliant. Could talk about that for ages. And that, only through pain and suffering and trauma you can ever, find out who you really are or unmask other people for their true self. Whenever you hear this kind of nonsense, please be advised that these people don't know that we have a real living energy body. Because anybody who does know that we have a real living energy body that produces all of our emotions and, is the backbone for our physical body and creates our lives as we know them in the heart, anybody who knows that clearly understands that positives are good for you. They're vitamins for the energy body. And the more positives you can get and connect with and work with, contact with, the more powerful you become. It is easy, it is logical, it makes every sense in the world. Likewise, it makes every sense in the world that we don't want to constantly focus on trauma and suffering and misery and problems, because that is clearly going to bring the energy body down. And when the energy body is down, then all is lost. Our thinking is lost, our intelligence is lost, our power is lost, our intuition is lost. Our ability to function as a proper human being is just lost. And we're basically. So, to people who know about energy bodies, the power of the positives is logical, makes perfect sense. And when you hear people go on about how bad it is to be a positive person and how terrible that is and how you're just stupid and deluded and you're some sort of a Mary Sue or you're a happy Polly and you don't know what you're doing, those people haven't got a clue. They're just low on energy, because if they weren't so low on energy, they wouldn't say that. Of course they wouldn't. They'd say like, oh, that's great that you're a happy person. I wish I was as happy as you are. So yeah, that's the battle for the positives. When you start working with the power of the positives, you will run into that. You will have people tell you that you're just making a terrible mistake by moving towards love, thinking about energy, being happy, and that somehow in the long run, this will lead to terrible problems. And I can assure you, I have been on this planet for 60 years and I have been trying this out. And I can tell you that it just gets better and better and better. And there are no problems in the long run. There are no downsides. And in fact, I would say that's how we gain our structural immortality, is by having lots and lots of positive experiences, making it clear to the mind body totality that that's what we want, what we're going towards: more positive experiences, expanding the energy body, becoming stronger in spirit, becoming more shiny, becoming more powerful. Yeah, right. So that's my talk on the battle of the positives. So don't let other people bring you down. And really, the answer to that is simply anybody who preaches that suffering is somehow good for you. They clearly haven't got a clue about the nature of the universe. They haven't a clue about the nature of love. And most of all, they haven't a clue that they really have a beautiful, shining energy body that wants to unfold, that wants to grow, that wants to come out like a butterfly out of a little caterpillar cocoon, you know? And that's what I want our energy bodies to encourage to be doing. Okay, and so here we come sort of to one of the big battlefields of the power of the positives, and that would be positive affirmations. Now, there are people who absolutely hate positive affirmations. They might have tried them and it didn't work and it was horrible. There are other people who absolutely love them and swear by them. Positive affirmations are, of course, a wonderful thing. But what I thought before we go into that is we're going to have a look at how we deal with the power of the positives in regards to the modern energy chart. And that's really quite important. So I've gone away and I've made myself some props with the help of my partner, Martin. And so I have something that I can show you. And so this is our really depressed energy body at -8. This is a depressed person. They have the symptoms of clinical depression. So this person here, and I'm going to keep him sort of slightly in view so we know what we're talking about. This person cannot make positive affirmations. They can't. They literally cannot even use the power of the positives to help themselves. They are so low on energy, so depressed, and this is really pictured here by this guy lying down flat and is just crying. What this person needs here is for another person to provide them with the power of the positives. What this person needs is for another person to come to them and to say, it's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. You're going to be okay. Everything will be fine. Everything is going to be all right. Breathe deeply. You're much stronger than you remember right now. You just need to breathe deeply and you need to remember that everything's going to be all right. And that's a basic principle. So where do we get somebody from that does that for us? It would be nice if each one of us had such a person. And it would also be nice if more people knew about the modern energy chart, so that when somebody gets really depressed like that, that they know what to do, that they're there to provide the positives, the positive energy, the hope, the future, for this person, so that their energy system can spool up, take in the first positives, start to breathe again, and we can move on from there. If you are alone and there's no one else there, I have found that a great way of enacting that is to use pre-recorded hypnosis meditations, or just hypnosis, pre-recorded hypnosis, where some person is telling you everything's going to be all right and you're going to be fine. And you can listen to that, and that will help you stabilize your energy system and get you moving in the right direction. Now, interestingly enough, I then went away and I created my own, just in case, or in general, for aspects who are tired or sad or distraught. And I actually recorded sets of meditations for aspects in negative energy states, right down to my Delta Trance lullaby, which I made for aspects, including my own aspects, who were in so much pain and distress and disturbance that they couldn't get to sleep. And so that was really rather cool. So to tell a person at -8 that they need to do positive affirmations, forget it, they can't do it. Somebody else has to do it for them. Okay, so then we get to our next little friend here, and it's a big favorite of mine. This is our -7 guy. This is the red guy, the guy who's having a total freak out. Normally, this can be whatever, people think of these things as all being so different, but they're actually not. A panic attack is a -7 freak out. Temper tantrum, where you're starting to throw the dishes or you're attacking somebody. An aggressive outburst, that's also -7. It's also a freak out. Throwing yourself around like a lunatic on the floor and thrashing is that again. And I would even say that migraines and such are sort of one of those on a slow burner over 3 days. But be that as it may, when you are in that state, again, sort of positive affirmations, I don't really know what's going on with that. And this is really a loss of control. And so when you were in that state, it's really not that much that can be done. I have had moments in those states where I made declarations of great power that I wish I hadn't and try to regret. What we're trying to achieve is to not get into these states. I think that's really quite important. I mean, don't beat yourself up if it does happen, but as we are raising the energy average, as we're feeding the energy body and keeping it stronger, this is going to be happening less and less ferociously, which is a nice thing. Okay, so now here we've got my little number 5. This is a person who is scared or chronically stressed. If you're a gentleman, you would prefer that expression. Somebody who is just chronically stressed and scared all the time. And somebody said this to me the other day, that they were quite happy, but then they turn on the news and they can't help themselves, even though they know it's, all propaganda and stuff. They're still feeling this knot in the stomach. And that's why our little friend here has got this spiral in his stomach. There is real physical sensation, and you're shaking, and you are not thinking clearly, and that's the lines around his head here. So this sort of person is also not going to be good at making positive affirmations. They're just too scared and too terrified. So how can such a person stabilize themselves? The very high personal power positives, they can come to the rescue here. And this fear there in the stomach, that can be transformed by using the heart position, by holding something that you love to your heart And this may be a teddy bear for a small child, or a picture of a loved one, or a book that you find inspiring, a physical object that becomes a positive affirmation, a safety anchor, so that we don't actually drop off into that -7, which we just don't want that. We just don't want to go there. Here is the last point, sort of, where we can stabilize and go back to where we came from. And so then we come to this guy here. This is between 0 and -4, is where the vast majority of the population live their life. You know, that's there, round about the -3. They don't realize how stressed they are. But the question marks over this guy's head, they are so important, because you can tell that you're in that state when you start to question yourself, when you start to question your ability to cope, when you start to question your ability to make it work, to make it happen, whatever it is that you are trying to do at all, across the board, when you're starting having the nagging doubt. Ooh, that is when you are in this really negative, and it is really negative. This is not harmless. This is the root of all evil. When we've lost so much energy that we can still, seem to be okay and pretend to be okay to the neighbors, but really we're questioning ourselves. And here we can use that questioning to help us. When we are starting to ask these questions, am I good enough? There we need to learn to stop, and now really we can, at this level, really activate the power of the positives. And here we can stop and say, I am good enough. I'm more than good enough. I'm fantastically good enough. And we can actually go on there and go, I'm good enough as a human being. I am good enough as a partner. I am good enough as a worker. I am good enough as a family father. I am good enough as, an architect. I am good enough as a lover. I'm good enough as an intelligent human being. I'm good enough in strong and body and mind. I am good enough in every way. I'm good and I'm getting better every day. Woohoo. And now the energy is up and the question's gone. We can just now move forward and act. See, the problem with this questioning state is it paralyzes you. You can't act. You cannot act. You can't make the right decisions. You can't have the right forward movements. So, do I look fat in this dress? Oh, God. Right. That question is asked. Let's answer it. I look fantastic in this dress. I look sexy in this dress. I look beautiful in this dress. I look fabulous in this dress. I look like a goddess in this dress. I look beautiful in this dress. I will attract positive attention from the right people in this dress. I'm going to have people love me in this dress. This dress is going to love and protect me. This dress is amazing. Woohoo! That is a form of positive affirmation. And what it does, it turns it around. Now, do you look fat in this dress? Ha ha! What's the reality of this? This is so awesome, because if you go out to a load of people who know nothing about energy, nothing about the power of the positives, nothing at all, go out to a load of people in the do I look fat in this dress state? What are people going to think? How are they going to react? How are they going to interact with you? What energy are you going to get back? You go into the same group of people with the I look fabulous in this dress. I'm amazing. I am so sexy. How are these other people going to react? This sets up a weird mirroring, an uplifting spiral of positivity. So this thing with the affirmations is not about lying to yourself or making yourself better than you really are, anything like that. It is simply about making your energy body stronger, putting a smile on your face, and through the interaction with other people, changing your reality. And that's really also very important. I mean, a lot has been said about affirmations, that you can affirm that you're going to get rich and miraculously this big check lands on your doorstep from an aunt that you never knew you had. And I always think of this as utter bollocks. This can happen. Sure, it can happen. It could be a coincidence. It could be anything. It's not scientific. But what is scientific is when you are interacting with other people. When you are going at the world from a state of I am amazing, I'm a gift, I am valuable, I am interesting, I am lovable. If you're going at the world of people in that way, then these things happen that I think are far more miraculous than some stupid check coming from nowhere. It's like there's all these people in the world, and it is in their power to make your path smoother and happier, or to make your life a misery. Again, most people just don't realize this. But if you're phoning up a call center to complain about a bill or something, and you're being miserable, and there's this operator there, it's a lowly worker who gets minimum wage, and they have it in their power to just ruin your life with one keystroke. They only have to press one button and all hell is going to be let loose. And they also likewise have it in their power to tell you beneficial things to help you out in some way. Oh, did you know there's a better tariff you could have? Or I know this special tip that could be of use to you. Or I'll expedite your particular query and I'll make sure you'll get it long before those other people who have bitched and moaned at me all day are going to get theirs. See, that's the power of the positives. That's the power of the energy system. Above all else, it interacts with other human beings. So, do remember this. You start questioning yourself, am I good enough? Answer it with the power of the positives. Do I have what it takes to succeed? Let's answer it. Let's answer your question, little green man. Do I have what it takes to succeed? Well, I have intelligence, I have brilliance, I have creativity, I have love in my heart, I have power, I have stars in my eyes, I have so much excitement about the world, I have a good sense of color, I have skill with languages, I can sing. Yeah, I have what it takes to succeed, okay. And then we're not that guy anymore. All of a sudden, we are a different version of ourselves. And at the very least, from a little thing like that, where we're asking that question, we're going to be like +3. Our little friend with the ideas. And this is also then really important because now we were talking about affirmations and how affirmations work across the board and what to do with our affirmations. Now here we have, 0. No emotions whatsoever. The best a man can get, the best a man can hope for, the best a man can be. Not. That awful, awful 0 state where we are loveless and lifeless and bored and nothing is good and nothing is bad and it's just everything is there. What do we need to get us out of that state? Well, first of all, again, the recognition I'm in that state. Everything's boring. I can't be asked. Can't be bothered. I haven't got the energy. Ah, dear, yeah, okay, I'm gonna watch another movie, gonna do another thing. For this guy here, we really do need to have some things established. There, we really do need to have some big things flashing in the environment. Hey, raise your energy. Nobody likes a boring, grey person that has no energy. Nobody, including yourself. It's not a good place to be. Let's not be in that place for 1 second longer than we need to. Be advised, I'm bored. Okay, I'm bored. Right. Fair enough. Bored. Can't think of anything. Yeah, well, that's a side effect of this state. There's no creativity, and there's zero creativity, zero intelligence in this state. That's what the old bean counters don't appreciate. Is that there's no love, no intelligence, no creativity. You need to be energy higher to have any of those. Okay, so what should we use to get us out of that state? Bored. I'm bored. Okay. It'd be handy to have a list of things that you might like to do in order to get out of a bored state. I have such a thing. It's called the list. And I am happy to share a link to my personal list. And it has topics on it, such as sex, dancing, poems, research. And what we can then do is go down our personal list and we'll find something there that makes the energy body wake up and go, whoo, yes, that's what I'd like to do. So that's one of our homework exercises for the zero state, is to make yourself a list of things that raise your energy. Different kinds of things that you can do. And then stick it up on the fridge right next to your modern energy chart. If you've got kids, then the sex thing can be some metaphor, like exercise if you wish. But the idea is to give your energy body a choice of things from a menu so that it can choose something and there start to spin up so that we get to this place here. Now, I believe that the affirmations, in the first place, these things of stating realities that you want to have happen, come from this state. Here we can see potential, we can have ideas, and we can see what we want. We're finally energy rich enough to get out of this negativity, endless negativity, to do something and at least think towards something that's good and that's beautiful. And so, yeah, that brings me then straight to our affirmations. And here's a question I'm going to ask you. So this guy here, he's at 3. I'll put him over here. And this guy here, he's at 7. Right? Both of those say the same thing at the same time, or one after the other. Our three guy here says, I'm rich and happy. Okay? And then our 7 guy says, I'm rich and happy. The thing is that the 7 guy has more energy behind that statement. And it's the energy that makes all the difference. And I found, or should I say an aspect found, a great way to make affirmations work from 0 upward. And that is simply to put the words, this is my will, behind it. See, let's for example say, just as for argument's sake, let's say that I would like to be thin. And I'd like you to bear this in mind because we're going to come back to this. So if I say I am thin as an affirmation, as a statement of something that I would want, but that is not true right now, not at all. I am anything other than thin. And to make that work, it needs to be said with a manner of energy. But when we're putting behind it, this is my will, all of a sudden, the game changes. the response changes. Instead of I am thin, and we're getting a whole lot of sort of negativity, like, no, you're not, you're really fat, or yeah, you can say that, but it means nothing, or yeah, you're deluding yourself, you're just being stupid, or it'll never happen, it'll never happen. Or wait till you're dead, then you're thin, or whatever other objections we have to this affirmation, just collapse into silence when we add, this is my will. Now, I don't necessarily want to be thin, and we will come to this later. But I'm just giving you that as an example of how it works when you are saying something that blatantly isn't true right now. And that, of course, is the key to what an affirmation is. Something that is blatantly untrue right now, but it is something that you would like to be so, whatever that may be. So that's our practice piece. And I'd like you to try that with me just for fun. Let's right. Let's try one that is slightly uncontroversial. Let's try simply, I have all the energy in the world. Let's try that just for fun. Let's do it in the heart position. Let mind, body, spirit know, and we're going to do something here with energy. Okay. And just say that. I have all the energy in the world. Okay. Just note what that feels like, where you feel that in your body, whether you get any responses anywhere, physical things that you can feel. I got some interesting sort of lines of nearly pain across my forehead, but that doesn't matter. All right, so let's try my power affirmation instead. I have all the energy in the world. This is my will. Can you tell the difference? I hope that you can. And if you can, then you have pretty much cracked it as far as affirmations are concerned. I have all the energy in the world. This is my will. Okay, everybody says around us, in the spheres, in our body, okay, this is your will. Cool. Yeah, fine. Great. We can move towards that. That'll be an excellent thing to do. Fine. Everybody agrees, everybody's happy, and we have made a lovely affirmation. Now, if you can feel that this affirmation is starting to raise your energy, you're starting to feel more powerful. Now, I think that would be then a good time to make another affirmation, because the higher the state from which an affirmation is made, the more powerful the affirmation becomes. And at plus 10, you might as well call it reality creation. So our first one here was, I have all the energy in the world. This is my will. My second one, okay. I have all the love in the world. This is my will. I love the way how the tension just goes choop when you're doing this is my will. I have all the compassion in the world. This is my will. That particularly I noticed in my back, there was this release. It's okay. Yeah, you can. Yeah, it's okay. You can want that. That's a good thing to want. It's an energy raising thing to want. I have all the fun in the world. This is my will. Woohoo! So here's some examples of affirmations. I highly recommend that you find some affirmations of your own, things that you really, really want, that you really want in your world, in your life, in your reality, that you would like to create, that you don't need to know how to. We're just practicing with the power of the positives and actually starting to use these magical things that are called affirmations. Just play with them. This is our homework exercise this week. Find 10 high positive affirmations that are meaningful to you. Don't have to be meaningful to anybody else, just to you. Things that you would want in your life. And evoke them, say them, speak them with "this is my will." And have a practice and a play with that. And also, as you're doing 10 by the end of the week, how as your state rises, it feels more powerful when you are speaking that affirmation. And that will give you a sense of what levels of power we actually need in order to make affirmations ring out so they are heard, not just across the universe or mysterious angelic helpers, but they're heard by ourselves, by our own aspects, by our own, person, that we're actually hearing ourselves here and that we are agreeing to this. Yes, I want to have all the love in the world. This is my will. And just feeling that. Remember, it's only real when you feel it's real. And what we are doing here is learning how to access higher power states and using that power in those states to actually make these evocations that have the power to change reality. Okay, yes. And so here we are with number 4 of the power of the positives. Affirmations uncovered. And I would like to leave you with my favorite little friend here. +10. An affirmation spoken at a real +10 state. Evoked, broadcast, rings out across the universe. And an affirmation at that point will create your reality. But it's okay if you can't get there just yet. We still have 8 units to go. We still have lots to learn about the power of the positives. I hope you have enjoyed this session. I hope you will continue to use the power of the positives in your daily life and start charting this new course which goes beyond the limitations of the old and really into a very, very fascinating new indeed. Thank you for being here with me. I wish you lots of love. I wish you lots of awesome experiences and excitement with affirmations unlocked. You could say, "This is my will." And I will see you next week, same time, for the power of the positives, part 5. Bye for now.